జూనియర్ ఇంటర్ చదువుతున్న విద్యార్థులను ఉద్దేశించి మనం ఇప్పటికే చాలా వీడియోస్ అప్లోడ్ చేయడం జరిగింది. అందులో భాగంగా ప్రోజ్ నుంచి చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఎస్సే అయినటువంటి భోజస్య ఔదార్యం అనేటువంటి ఎస్సేను కూడా మీకు అందించడం జరుగుతుంది. దీన్ని బాగా విని చాలా చక్కని మార్కులు సాధిస్తారని కోరుకుంటూ మీ ఈశ్వర్ మాస్టర్.
ప్రస్తుత పాఠ్యభాగः భోజస్య ఔదార్యం इति श्री बल्लालकविना विरचित भोजप्रबन्धात् स्वीकृतः. The present lesson Bhojasya Audharyam is an extract from Bhojaprabandha written by 11th century poet Ballala, who is also known as Vallabhadeva. In this book, the poet describes the noble life of Bhoja Maharaja, the king of Dharanagara. Bhoja inherited his kingdom from his paternal uncle Munja and was ruling the kingdom with the help of his minister Buddhisagara. One day, when Bhoja was walking in the royal park, he came across a Brahmin going that way. On seeing the king, the Brahmin immediately closed his eyes. When Bhoja asked him for his disrespectful act, the Brahmin answered him in this way: "Oh Raja, as you are a devotee of Lord Vishnu and not harmful, I give you the reason for my behavior. You do not donate anything and you don't have kindness. So how can I bless you? Moreover, I followed the famous saying that seeing a miser early in the morning is unlucky for one, and the person will not get money even from others. So I closed my eyes." He further said that the ancient kings Karna, Shibi, Vikramarka and the sage Dadhichi get name and fame because of their generosity. They are still living in the world in the form of eternal fame, though they died long ago. On hearing the words of the Brahmin, Bhoja said, "Oh Swami, it is not easy to find an intimate friend and scholar like you." Saying so, the king praised him and granted him an amount of 1 lakh rupees. The king was pleased to know his name as Govinda and appointed him an officer for the educational wing in his court. Thus, the king began to patronize poets and scholars. From that day, he became famous as Danaviteshwara by offering grants to one and all. His minister also advised him to stop donations. Bhoja got angry at the advice of the minister and replaced him with another minister. Meanwhile, a poet from Kalinga Desha came to Dharanagara and had been trying to meet the king for a month, but in vain. Thereafter, one day, when the king came out of the palace to go for hunting, he was greeted and praised by the poet. Knowing his poetic talent, the king granted him 1 lakh rupees. The poet followed the king, who was on a hunting mission. There in the forest, the king offered 5 lakh rupees to a tribal boy who pleased the king with his melodious singing. In this way, Bhoja became famous as a great donor. One day, 6 poets came to see Bhoja traveling a long distance. When they met him, he said, "Today I have offered many donations." They recited their poetry, but they were advised to meet the king in court by Govinda. On hearing this, one of them said, "O Raja, it is not beneficial, though we have not met you." All this, Govinda got angry with him. Then the poet recited a witty poem, that means sloka, to the king, which meant, "O Raja, the lake with a crocodile cannot satisfy the thirst of anyone, though it is surrounded with people." The king understood the poet's idea and immediately dismissed Govinda from his job. He placed another one in the position and donated 1 lakh of rupees to each one of the 6 poets. Then he said to his minister, "O minister, a foolish man, even though he is a Brahmin, should not live in my kingdom. But a potter can live here if he is a poet." He ordered him to implement the law in his kingdom. On another occasion, a poet by name Shankara came to the king and praised his greatly in a poem recited by him. The king recognized the poetic beauty of the sloka and granted 12 lakh rupees to him. In this way, Ballala describes greatly the generosity of King Bhoja in case of poets and scholars. This is the lesson Bhojasya Audharyam.
ప్లీజ్ లైక్ చేయండి, షేర్ చేయండి, సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయండి.